Sorry.
Okay, we start in about 2 minutes. Set lang natin yung YouTube live. I think it already is. Pahingi na lang din nung ating YouTube live link so we can share.
Send na.
Pa-send, Casey, pa-send dun sa Facebook natin.
Okay. Okay.
Shall we start, Karen? Sige.
Okay. Kunin lang natin tong YouTube link. Okay. So, magandang hapon sa ating lahat. So, just a reminder again, this Zoom lecture is being streamed live on YouTube. So, magandang hapon dun sa ating 10th installment actually. The 10th installment ng UsaPangMasa ng Congress of Teachers and Educators for Nationalism and Democracy in UP Diliman. This is the 10th in our series. I think we were one of the pioneers in doing the digital lectures in the time of the great lockdown sa Pilipinas. Then when we started this, we started off with the basic information na kailangan, and we already had as our first lecturers from the health sector and then from the scientists, and we're reprising our guests now kasi ito ay part ng aming 4-part assessment series, yung aming quarantine or out. Yan. So, yung series na to starts with an assessment of the health interventions, of course, and an assessment of the testing capacity. The next series on Monday will focus mostly on the social protection and the social amelioration program. The next would be on Tuesday, focusing on the economic aspect, economic impacts, given that just yesterday, the PSA and the NEDA released the newest GDP data. We had a 0.2% contraction, if I'm not mistaken. Then on Wednesday, we're going to look at more of a political context. What is the politics of COVID? And of course, how does the People's Movement intervene in that politics? So para sa hapong ito, we have 2 speakers from the health sector and from the scientists. I think I would leave Professor Sonido to give us an introduction.
Ayan. So we have 2 speakers for today. Our first speaker is Joshua Miguel Dana. Ayan. Nakasama na natin si Joshua during our second UsaPangMasa. He is one of the conveners of Scientists Unite Against COVID-19. This is an alliance of concerned scientists, organizations, and other citizens who are calling on the Philippine government to build our national COVID-19 testing capacity and expand testing efforts at the regional and local levels. And our second speaker is Dr. Julie Caguiat, co-convener of Coalition for People's Right to Health and former executive director of the Community Medicine Development Foundation, a training institution on community medicine and community-based principles on health. So umaas tayo na from our 2 speakers, meron tayong insights na sa ano na ba ang situation natin ngayon, ano na ba ang status ng ating mass testing capacity at public health measures, especially now that we are more than a month na tayo into the quarantine and nearing the end of the season 2 ng quarantine natin. So ayun, pakinggan natin sila at pwedeng magtanong ng questions pagkatapos.
Salamat, Professor Sonido. So I think we would go about this digital lecture starting with Dr. Caguiat, and then next with Mr. Dana. Okay? So si Doc muna.
Sige. Sige, so pagagaling ko lang, Luigi. Pagagaling ko lang dun sa Cure COVID na press briefing. So I think yung presentation ko naman will not be different from that kasi may assessment na rin yun, especially dun sa conduct ng mass testing. At siguro very significant talaga yan kasi, di ba, in-extend yung community quarantine until middle of May. So malapit na yan, May 8 na. So 1 more week. Marami na rin katanungan kung paano ba, naghahanda na, or i-convert na to general community quarantine at magre-relax na dun sa mga measures na initially pinataw nung extended community quarantine. Bagamat syempre yung pangunahin naman na ano na to, yung responsibility is coming from, of course, the government, the IATF, and the Department of Health. Tayo kasi tayo nga yung public where, of course, sinasabi nila tayo yung frontliners ng ng control at saka sa paano masusuko yung COVID-19. Syempre may take rin tayo dito sa usapin na to. And siguro yon i-share ko nga rin yung share ko lang yung presentation. Teka lang. Sabay. Ala, paano ba yan?
Share screen po, ma'am.
Oo. Paano ko ba yung data, yung slide?
Share screen po. Then
Tapos
basic
hanapin ko
share.
yun.
Opo, then hanapin niyo po yung slide niyo. It needs to be active. Okay po.
Oh, wait wala dito sa dito, wait for a while. Ito na. Sorry. Okay. So, yung una kong slide, is about, syempre dun sa naririnig natin sa report ng IATF kung paano i-relax yung quarantine. Kung nakita nyo yung matrix, although I don't have it here, yung dalawang parameter na sinusunod nila and para i-relax yung quarantine ay una, yung sinasabi nilang epidemiologic na data, which is yung doubling time. So, ibig sabihin, ano ba ibig sabihin ng doubling time? Ibig sabihin nun, kung gaano ikli or kahaba yung panahon na dumodoble yung number of cases ng COVID. So, ibig sabihin, kung mas mahaba yung doubling time, ibig sabihin, di na siya masyado nakakahawa. So, parang mas or bumababa ng cases. Pero pag mas mabilis pa yung doubling time, ibig sabihin, maano pa yung hawa, yung spread, mabilis pa. Yung isa pang...
Can you please just open your slide?
Here, sorry.
Please open your slide.
So, yung isang parameter is, although wala dito, yung isang parameter is yung critical care utilization rate. So, ibig sabihin, gaano karami yung nasa hospital, gaano yung... yes. Nakikita nyo.
Hindi pa po naka-share yung mismong slide. So, try to click stop share and then share screen again, then choose the actual slide that's active on the screen.
Sorry. Yan? Kita na?
Yes, okay na po.
Okay na? Sige. So, yun yung dalawang parameters. But, syempre rin, meron ding naka-pinost din yung DOH na ano rin yung criteria para mag-relax ng quarantine. Aside from dun sa epidemiologic na at saka yung utilization rate, ng critical care utilization rate, yung mga nagpapagamot at mga naka-hospitalize. So, yung isa dyan, syempre, yung parameters din ng health, yung epidemiology, and then yung isa pa dyan, yung kahandaan ng healthcare system. So, hindi lang sa hospitals, pati yung papunta rin sa local government, yung mga quarantine areas at yung iba-iba pa. So, yan yung mga sinabi, no? At nilay down ng Department of Health. Pero kung titingnan nyo lahat kasi yung parameters na yon, it depends on the number also at kung paano ka nagko-conduct ng i-investigate at paghahanap ng cases. So, paano ka nagsiscreen ng cases. And that will rely on testing. So, which is being done in a laboratory. So, yun na yung sinasabi nating PCR test na matagal na nating pinapanawagan na mas paramihin pa. So, yung panawagan na mass testing. So, as of now, sinasabi ng Department of Health, we have to reach 8,000 tests per day by end of April. Pero yung current data natin as of the first week, no? As of the first week of May is ito. Kung titingnan niyo tong graph na to, umaabot lang siya ng almost 8,000. No? Medyo naabot, pero actually it's 7,000 plus yan. And doon, kung titingnan nyo pa in actual, mga 5,000 yan. Kasi yung 2,000, kino-confirm pa. So, ibig sabihin, yung mga test na ginagawa, hindi natin na nakukuha ng on time. So, kunyari, tinest ka today, yung result mo, makukuha pa in 4 days or 7 days. Yung iba, maximum 10 days pa. So, yung nire-report ng Department of Health is hindi real time. No? May lag yan ng 1 week or more. Pero as it is, pinapakita niya na hindi niya na-reach yung 8,000. Meron pa silang promise na, sige, we have to have 30,000 tests till siguro by the end of May. Pero kung titingnan mo yung graph na to, kung susundin natin yan, yung 30,000, marireach natin yan in 3 weeks time. Sige, end of May, tingnan natin kung kakayanin nila. So, yan yung isa. And then, they plan to test 2 million people, which is roughly mga 1.5% of the population or more, o mga ganon. No? And so now, nasa na ba yung testing natin? Yung testing natin, we have tested 126,713 cases, no? Individual patients yan, which is just 0.1% of the population. So, napakaliit pa ng numero na naabot natin. Marami pang kaakibat na problema yung testing. Mamaya sabihin ko, bakit mahalaga? Kasi yun nga, in-establish ko na bakit mahalaga yung testing. Tapos ano yung use niya? Marami pang problema kasi kung titingnan naman natin dito, kung titingnan natin yung availability ng testing centers, marami sa kanila concentrated dito sa National Capital Region, both private and public hospitals. So yung pinakaunang nag-test talaga is the Rural Institute, the RITM, Research Institute of Tropical Medicine sa Alabang. Pero yung iba sumunod na rin kasi medyo naging mabagal lang kasi sabi nga nila, nag-commit lang naman yung ating government sa mass testing nung after meron ng public pressure tapos April 14 na, no? Saka sila nagsabi, sige, we will start. Sabi nga natin, ba't hindi earlier? Pero yun yung kinomit nila. Yung ibang mga laboratory, natagalan pa kasi i-accredit pa daw. Kasi nga yung test is medyo sensitive siya at saka, mamaya siguro may naman yan yung isang speaker. Pero, matagal din yung accreditation. Tapos, ang isa pa sa niyan, naggagawa sila ng sub-regional testing centers. Meron na sa Northern Luzon, yung Benguet General Hospital, sa Mindanao, yung only one in Mindanao is sa Davao, no? Although meron ng sumusulpot na iba, kaya lang pa yan, ina-approve pa. So, kung sa titingnan natin, concentrated sa NCR, kasi nga, dito naman talaga unang kumalat, pero yung clamor pa rin is kailangan na rin all over the Philippines as much as possible nga kung pwede magkaroon per region or per province. Yung iba pang problema dyan, just recently, usap kami nung isang doctor sa Benguet, sa Baguio, sabi nga niya, ang natetest na lang ng Benguet General Hospital is 10 tests per day. Sila yung catchment area nila, buong Northern Luzon, yung mga regions dyan. So, bakit nawawalan na sila ng testing kit? Apparently, yun yung problema nila. Hindi pa sila napapadalhan from the national government. accredited sub-testing centers sila. So yan. So 0.1 of the population has been tested. Yung testing capacity as computed is 5,264. Although nilagay na nila yung 7,000 kasi siguro yung pending pa na mga nakuna na rin na test pero kino-confirm ba. Yung 8,000 target actually hindi naabot ng end of April. 23 of the laboratories, majority are in the National Capital Region. Testing must be done. Sinasabi nga namin, must be done as more cases are confirmed to get the real picture. Bakit kailangan yung mas maraming testing? Kasi unang-una, mas malalaman natin yung spread. Kung paano talaga siya, kung makalat pa ba siya, o ano. Kasi yung isang problem natin, yung testing na ginagawa sa atin, very limited lang sa population ng may symptoms, tapos meron silang exposure, yung iba yung, syempre yung healthcare workers kasi exposed sila. Itong mga bago na lang dinagdag, dati ang tinetest lang talaga nila yung vulnerable na may simptomas, actually yung medyo malalala na. Tapos nung nagka-clamor tayo na mas dagdagan, sinama na nila na sige pati yung mga health workers na may symptoms. Tapos sinama na rin nila yung isang priority pero hindi main priority, yung mga may exposure na walang simptomas. So ibig sabihin kung nahawa ako sa isang COVID-19 positive patient pero wala pa akong nararamdaman, eligible na rin ako for testing. Ang sinasabi namin, hindi lang siya gawing third priority, kundi i-test niya yung mga lahat na yan. Kasi napakahalaga na malaman mo, miski wala pang sintomas pero nahawa na, para ma-ice. Bakit mahalaga yun? Kasi doon na susunod yun eh. Pag nalaman mo na positive siya, ma-isolate mo siya kaagad. No? Or maka-quarantine mo siya kaagad. Kung malala siya, mahu-hospital mo kaagad para magamot. Or kung hindi masyado malala, maaalagaan mo pa rin siya. So, ibig sabihin, makokontrol mo yung kalat, no? Na nandun ka sa framework na napapangunahan mo yung virus. Pero hindi kasi ganyan kapulido yung testing natin sa ngayon kasi kitang-kita nga natin na kulang pa siya. Tapos marami pang ipit dun sa proseso. Mabagal yung turnover. So, may mga issue pa dyan na yung PCR test na yun yung gold standard, yun yung standard talaga na ginagamit na naimbento ng UP, National Institutes of Health, hindi rin ginagamit. Although approved na, may sinasabi na yung Benguet General Hospital, meron silang ganon, 2,000, pero hindi pinapagamit sa kanila ng DOH. Yung tanong doon is bakit? Kasi sinasabi hindi pa daw standard or parang may kulang pa dun sa pag ng quality. So ang tanong namin, pero ang alam natin sa press release, ginagamit na siya at dinistribute na siya sa iba't ibang testing centers. So yan yung malaking problema sa testing. And kung titingnan natin ang data, yung testing na ginagawa, kung i-compute mo yung testing for COVID-19 as compared dun sa positive or confirmed cases, kunyari, makikita mo yung gaano siya kalapit na talagang reflective siya dun sa actual conditions ng pagkalat ng sakit. So yung isang kino-compute nila is ilang testing ang ginawa per patient confirmed. So kung titingnan natin dito sa slide, for the Philippines, 13 tests have been done per confirmed case. Sa US, ito lang para may comparison tayo. 6 per confirmed case. So, ibig sabihin, mas mababa sila. Sa Vietnam, 150 tests per confirmed case. Tapos sa Australia, 59. So, pag mas mataas yung number of tests mo per confirmed case, so, ibig sabihin, mas maganda yung testing capacity mo. Mas nagbibigay ka ng tamang picture nung spread nung iyong nung disease, nung virus. Kung sa atin sa 16, medyo mababa pa tayo. So parang pinapakita lang talaga niya na kulang pa rin tayo sa usapin ng testing. Well, yung iba sasabihin nila, yan lang kasi yung kaya ng DOH. Pero hindi yun parang hindi yun acceptable. Kasi sa totoo lang po, marami na tayong pinagdaanan ng mga outbreak, hindi lang itong COVID. Meron ng SARS, dati 'di ba yung MERS-CoV, yung H1N1, at meron na tayong mga na-establish na mga protocols. At ang isa sa nakalagay doon, habang wala pa yung virus sa iyong bansa, kunyari, panahon pa ng January na nasa Japan na siya, pinaghahandaan na dapat ng pamahalaan yung iyong health system. So kasama dyan yung hospital, yung testing capacity mo, yung iyong mga protective equipment, at yung iba pang mga usapin at mga protocols. So yan malawakan dapat na at kagyat na ginagawa nila. So dapat nung January pa lang. Kaya dito ngayon na ganito tayo umabot, kung mismong ang pamahala natin na ang nagbibigay ng paasa sa atin na sige, we will test 2 million, 120,000 pa lang po tayo ngayon. Kailan nyo ba plano talagang matest ng buo na ganong kadami? Pangalawa, yung testing po ay napakahalaga kasi nung April 14 na sinimula yan, dapat may programa at plano na by start of May, end of April, or ito in-extend na of middle of May, makikita na natin yung tama ba, nakokontrol na ba yung virus, or kung hindi na masyado kumakalat, o talagang bumababa na yung dami ng kaso. Ito na po yung pinag-usapan namin kanina sa COVID kasi biglang nagpalabas 2 days ago or few days ago yung DOH na yung based dun sa kanilang expert epidemiologists na na-flatten na yung curve. Ano pong ibig sabihin? Ibig sabihin parang bumaba na or hindi na dumadami yung mga kaso, or parang hindi na siya, yun, nagpa-flat na. Kaya lang kailangan po natin na tingnan yung pag-flatten ng curve. So, punta na po tayo dun sa sunod. Yung usapin kasi ng pag-flatten ng curve, ibig lang sabihin, yung bilang ng kaso mo, ng sakit, ay kayang alagaan or kayang harapin or kayang tugunan ng sistemang pangkalusugan ng iyong bansa. Pero, sa simula pa lang, wala pa po ang COVID-19, ano po ba yung capacity ng healthcare system natin? Alam ko, marami naman kayong naririnig. Noong 2019 pa lang, ano yung pumutok na issue noong 2019 at noong 2018? Dengue, measles, polio. Hindi pa po epidemic yan ha, hindi pa naging pandemya. Pero mga outbreak pa lang po yan, yung konting pagtaas dun sa numero ng mga kaso kada taon. At expected po natin yan kasi yung polio medyo bago po yung balik. Yung dengue at tumataas yan taon-taon. Pero ano na yung capacity natin? Nag-overflow ka agad, no? Parang bigat na bigat yung health system natin, harapin pa lang yung mga kaso na yan. So, ibig sabihin, dun pa lang sa preventive health measures, may pagkukulang na. Paano pa pag nagkasakit na? So, yan yung, lalo na, nung eto na yung COVID-19 na, isang sakit na bagamat sinasabi nilang pareho lang naman yung mga namamatay sa COVID-19, yung porsyento niyan pareho lang sa ordinary flu. Ang problema po, mas labis na mabilis siyang makahawa. Kaya yung sinasabi natin, dahil yung healthcare system natin ay hindi gaano kaayusan, ito pong flu ay kung sa atin mababa siya. Kaya miski anong konting taas nung iyong sakit, ay talagang lalampas po siya dun sa kakayahan ng healthcare system mo. Kaya maaga pa lang, 2,000 pa nga lang po yung kaso natin dati, yung mga hospital natin, nagkakandara pa na kasi punong-puno na. Ang nakakalungkot pa po nun, hindi na nila matanggap yung mga non-COVID patients nila. So, lalo na ngayon na 10,000, although, yun nga, humahabol yung DOH, ginawa naman niya ng paraan ng mga COVID hospital, meron na silang quarantine areas, meron na silang ligtas centers kung saan pwedeng yung mga mild cases na positive doon ilagay. So, although ini-improve naman niya tong flu na to, mataas pa rin yung kaso natin. And siguro dun sa sinasabi ng experts ng DOH na nag-flatten na ng curve, yung mathematician na nakasama namin kanina sa Cure COVID Network, actually, mayroon din siyang ibang analysis dun sa data kasi sabi nga niya, paano mo masasabing na flatten yung curve kung every day, same number of cases, may bagong same number of cases. Sabi nga niya, actually, kung magte-test pa tayo ng mas marami, baka hindi lang 300 per day yung cases natin, aabot pa ng mas malaki. So, nasan yung flattening ng curve na yan? Kasi kung tutuusin, pag ang flatten ng curve, ibig sabihin, gumaganda na yung kaso, wala na masyadong nagpapa-hospital, wala na masyadong mga nasa quarantine areas or sa mga isolation centers ng hospital or nung mga ligtas center or dun sa mga barangay na mga quarantine areas, nababawasan na yon. Pero sa ngayong level na natin, meron pa rin. At halos yung iba puno, yung iba siguro mga 80%. So, ibig sabihin, may mga kaso pa din. So, hindi siya bumababa or parang nagsisiro or nagbe-below 100. So, meron pa rin kaso every day at mahirap naman nating sabihin na na-flatten na. So, yung flattening ng curve, hindi lang yan mathematical na konsepto, hindi lang yung numero, kundi titingnan mo rin yung relationship ng capacity ng healthcare system mo, kung umaayos ba siya, at the same time, yung number of cases mo ay bumababa. Sa pamamagitan ng mga health measures na pinatupad tulad nitong ECQ, ay yung social distancing, yung hygiene practices, so yung mga cough etiquette at iba-iba pa. So yan po yung beyond flattening the curve. Yung sinasabi namin na kaya mong magsabi ng datos, sige. Pero kailangan mong i-validate them with the facts, yung nangyayari mismo. At saka yung isa pang punto dyan, hindi naman namin masasabi na okay, pwede na tayong umalis sa ECQ by mid-November, by May 15. Sa tingin po namin, kaso por kaso yan. So sa bawat locality, sa bawat municipality, city, barangay, dapat nagsasama-sama yung analysis ng data at saka yung capacity ng system kung ma-declare ba niya talaga na pwede na siyang lumabas dun sa quarantine or sa ICQ niya. Doon naman sa areas na hindi nag-declare ng quarantine, kailangan may continuous monitoring pa rin. So, hindi po mawawala yung panawagan na kailangan pa rin yung mass testing. Napakahalaga pa rin yan for future. At para maiwasan yung kung umalis ka na sa quarantine, tapos tataas siya. So, yan yung mga mahahalaga. Bakit natin pinapanawagan talaga yung mass testing. And then, ito pa ho, yung dagdag namin, siguro sa pagtingin namin, kasi ano ba yung panawagan natin para sa health system? So, tingnan natin yung building blocks, yung mga components ng health system. Ang pangunahin po dyan, kasi alam naman natin tayo yung isa sa pinakamataas na sa health manpower or dun sa mga health workers na affected. 1 out of 5 na namatay sa COVID ay isang health worker. Doktor, nurse, medtech, radtech, yan, mga nursing assistant. Bago pa mag-COVID-19, yung ano ba yung kalagayan natin? Ang ratio po ng public health doctors sa population is 1:20,000. Yung ideal po is 1:600, no? Sa standards po yan ng World Health Organization. Ang nurses natin 1:8,000, pero yan po yung sa public sa hospital 1:50 or 80 kasi minsan sa lokohan nga niyan 1:1. Pero yung one nurse to one ward, yung ward natin maabot ng 50, 80 ng pasyente. Tapos sa ideal para sa hospital, one nurse, 12 beds, so 12 patients. Ito ang laki-laki. Tapos sabi ng DOH, sige, for the gusto namin mag-process ng mga hiring. Di ba? Nagpalabas sila ng hiring. Kaya lang, sabi nga nila, voluntary. Tapos, magkano lang ibibigay? 500 per day. Ang daming umalma doon. Sabi nga namin, ano bang tingin nila sa mga mga health workers, voluntaryo mo sa isang napaka-peligroso na tas yan lang ang terms. So nung napuna-puna na sila, so binawi nila, so nagkaroon ng maayos na sige, malaking sweldo, tapos may assurance na pag naapektuhan ng COVID, may support na gagawin at ibibigay. Sa actual, ang hard pa lang nila is 750. Pero yung panawagan namin sa CPRH, yung kulang na plantilla, position ng DOH ay 17,000. Years ago na yan. Hanggang ngayon, hindi pa rin po yan napupilapan. Tapos for the, sabi nga namin, kulang pa yan. Kung DOH position na lang, paano yung sa LGU? Kung totoong pifill upan natin yung needs ng LGU, actually 42,000 kasi per barangay, sana may nurse, ganon. No? Tapos immediately for the hospital system, the COVID hospital, sana 6,000, hindi lang 2,000. And for the doctors, ito matagal na to, kay Secretary Ubial pa to, nung nanalo pa lang si Duterte sa posisyon, pinadala niya ng Cuba si Ubial para dun sa system nila dun sa healthcare. Doon mga doktor hanggang sa barangay level meron. So 15,000 sana yung idagdag. Pero wala, hindi naman yan na pupulbil. Ito yung actual. So yan pa lang sa health human resources pa lang. Yung surveillance, kasi ito yung mahalaga para, di ba yan? You have to screen and then you have to test. Kailangan mong i-isolate kung positive and then i-treat mo kung grabe. Tapos yun na. Yun yung sana yung nagagawa for surveillance. Kaya lang mahalaga sa surveillance nga, yung nabanggit ko kanina na yung manpower, kasi yung epidemiologic, sino yung magpa-follow up sa mga patients, sino magtitingin, mag-monitor, magre-record, yung testing centers, yung test kits, at yung manpower. Di ba nga ang RITM, yan yung unang testing center natin na nung March pa, 2,000 per day. Pero nito lang nakaraang linggo ba nagkasakit na, maraming nahawa daw dun sa mga manpower nila. So nag-downscale sila. Sabi namin, pag ganun, dapat may nagre-replace sa kanila. Kaya lang downscale daw eh. So sabi namin, so walang nag-replace. Bakit ganun? Hindi pwedeng ganun kasi dapat continuous yan kasi yung demand ay napakataas. So yung testing centers sana, sabi nga namin, ideally per province or per region at most. Kaya lang yun nga, nung pinakita ko kanina sa data, hindi pa siya ganun ka-well distributed, no? Marami pa rin dito sa Manila, well, is understandable, pero sana unti-unti na, mabilis, hindi lang unti-unti, mabilisan na mabigyan yung or magkaroon na dun sa iba-ibang lugar. Kasi complaint lang yan ng mga field doctors na kakilala namin eh. Sabi nga nilang hirap-hirap pag magpapadala ka nasa Surigao ka, tapos magpapadala ka pa sa Davao. So maraming yan yung delay, no? Hindi, may problema talaga sa data gathering natin. Tapos yung test kits na 1 million daw na meron ng pero yun nga sabi nga namin, bakit ganun? Sa Benguet, walang maibigay. So, nasan yung saan naiipit, no? Pati ba naman hanggang ngayon may red tape pa sa ganyan. So, dapat hindi pwedeng ganyan yung problema. Kasi napakahirap na yan pa yung haharapin mo. Hindi naman tumitigil yung virus, no? Hindi naman siya nagsasabi, sige, time out, no? So, yan. So, manpower. Yung COVID hospitals, bago pa tayo nakapagtayo ng COVID, actually, pinrepare na dapat to before. Pero yun nga, naging malaking usapin pa, yung mga private hospitals, sabi nila, we will, okay na kunin namin yung mga non-COVID patients nyo, basta kayo yung maging COVID hospitals, mga pasahan pa na ganyan. Sa ngayon daw, may 75 COVID hospitals with 4,000 beds for severe and moderate cases. Tapos, mahalaga po dyan yung gamit, yung ICU, yung critical care na mga rooms with ventilators. Kasi di ba yan yung inaatake ng COVID, yung pag-critical ka, yung baga. So, hindi kailangan tutulong ng paghinga sa'yo. Kaya lang sa ngayon, ang ventilators natin, 1,500. Sa tingin namin, dapat madagdagan po to ng 3,000, up to 3,000. So, half pa. Tapos kasama dyan, so kulang pa rin, no? Personal protective equipments with stockpile. Lung center and PGH alone, ang kailangan nila per month is 40,000. So, kung may 1 million, pero hindi nga rin namin alam namin kasi itong mga PPE ay mas pina-prioritize dun sa COVID hospitals. Actually, marami pang ibang hospitals na tumatanggap ng COVID patients pero wala silang assistance. So, ayan, kaya hindi katakataka na yung mga private donors ay madami sa dumadami. Tapos, nagka-issue pa nga na pinipigilan yung private donors. Dapat registered with the SWD or sino pa ba? Yung OC, Office of the Civil Defense para lang i-centralize yung mga donations. Pero sabi nga namin, ngayong panahon, magaganyan ka pa. So, pero yon patuloy naman, no, sa experience naman namin na kami ng donations, hindi naman napipigilan. Ibang usapin pa yung mga nagdo-donate sa mga communities, no, ng hindi lang PPE, pati mga pagkain na pinipigilan din. So, yan yung mga siguro sa actual na experiences mamaya matalakay or magkaroon ng sharing. Health financing, alam naman po natin under the Universal Healthcare Act, pinatatag yung PhilHealth as a health financing mechanism. Initially, nung April 14, before April 14 or for a span of 2 weeks or 1 month, hanggang April 14, babayaran daw lahat ng PhilHealth yung gastos, no? Kaya may umabot na sa private hospital, isang pasyente, 3.5 million COVID case na bayaran. Pero after April 14, nag-case rate na sila. So may limit. Ang ating panawagan kasi, tapos ngayon may mga balita na pinababayaran na yung PCR test. So ang isa sa nagpo-provide ng PCR test is Red Cross. So sabi may bayad doon na 3,500 pesos. Pero ang atin, paano yan? Magiging sagabal yan eh. So, ang atin, free healthcare services, lalo na for COVID cases at ngayon panahon ng COVID. Hindi biro na itong case rate, actually, sa mga hospitals, public hospitals, yung gastos nila usually hindi enough or hindi sapat yung case rate na binibigay. Kasi lalo na ngayon, although donated ang PPE, may mga iba na ang PPE binibili pa rin nila. So, kailangan yung pa lang, no? Ano pa yung mga gamot, yung mga machine. So, kung i-compute mo lahat yan, hindi enough yung mga case rates na binibigay. So, yan. And then yung governance. Ang na-mention nga kanina din nung nasa COVID kami, sabi nga yung assessment namin na nung nag-start yung pandemic na to or yung crisis na to, dahil devolved yung setup natin, pinabayaan talaga yung mga LGUs. O sige, bahala kayo, ipatupad nyo yung mga directives ng national. Sige, basta ma-control nyo yung COVID kasi first liner, kayo talaga eh. Kayo yung malaki dun sa bulto ng public health measures, ng medical measures to prevent COVID ay nakasalalay sa mga local government units. Iba-iba naman ang capacity ng LGU. So, nakita natin yan, no? For a while, si Pasig, laudable kasi, meron silang performance. Isang city, medyo, parang palpak. Kaya lang, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin lang na, tingnan mo to, okay, ito hindi. Trabaho yan ng DOH na magkaroon ng unified comprehensive plan, assistance for LGUs that hindi masyado yung kulang yung capacity. And then hindi lang yan direction, hindi lang yan guidance, kailangan pati yung logistics, yung budget, lahat. Hindi mo hihintayin na mag-declare pa yung LGU ng disaster para makuha niya yung funds niya, no, for that. So kailangan talagang planado na yan, automatic, bababa. To the point na sabi nga nung ibang LGU, nagkaroon na sila ng aversion sa memo kasi ang pinapadala na lang lagi ng IATF, memo lang na memo ng memo. Pag pinatapad mo yun sa baba, ang hirap din. Lalong-lalo na kung kulang ka sa tao, kulang ka ng budget, kulang ka sa gamit. No? So, yan yung problema din. At ito yung nakikita natin na isang malaking balakid talaga. So, even before nung non-COVID times pa, na namin yan, isang critic na rin kung bakit yung fragmented yung healthcare system natin. At nakita talaga natin, nag-crack na talaga siya. Nakita na yung kahinaan niya at kakulangan. Tapos yung isang panawagan din, yung industry, health products. Matagal na po kami nananawagan dun sa drug industry, sarili natin. Ito na ngayon na ang daming tumulong, no? Gumagawa ng PPEs, ng ventilator. May kakayanan tayo, pero yung support ng government sa manufacturing ng equipment, kailangan yan maitulak. So yan po yung nakikita namin na ano yung needs to improve, 'di ba? Needs improvement kasi kung talagang iaano natin yung flattening ng curve, napakahalaga po na hindi lang yan, sige, miski mag-mass testing ka ng mass testing, tapos hirap naman din kung hindi mo naman maibabagay dun sa konkretong kondisyon ng mamamayan, yung iyong mga measures na gustong ipatupad. So kailangan mayroon din talagang konkreto na komunikasyon at maayos na impormasyon para sa kanila para mawala yung takot, yung kalituhan at yung maano rin nila, maangkin nila mismo at kumilos din sila para sa sarili nila. So yung huli po, siguro dun sa pagtingin din sa paano nga ba yung pag-lift ng measure, nung quarantine, nabanggit ko na kanina na kaso po, sa tingin namin kaso por kaso. Hindi natin pwedeng i-umbrella na yan na, okay, sa May 15, wala na, sige, tapos na, i-lift na natin. Ano yan, dapat graduation, may ano yan, unti-unti, no? Tapos, depende sa lugar. Tapos, kailangan po, hindi namin nakikita, dahil ito ay isang pareho ng drug war. Ang usapin ng droga ay health measures po dapat yung solution dyan. Socio-economic. Pareho rin po ngayon sa problema natin sa COVID-19. Yung militaristic solution, sabi nga namin, mas marami pa yung hinuli dahil nag-violate ng quarantine measures, mga 155,000 na katao, pinarusahan, kinulong. Actually, sabi nga namin, sa panahon ngayon, hindi ka dapat kulong ng kulong. Mga 40,000 po yata ang kinulong. So, nakadagdag ka pa dun sa sa problema ng baka mangkahawa pa sila dun sa kulungan. So, mas madami pa yung napatawan ng ganyan kaysa dun sa na-mass test or sa na-test, no? So sabi nga namin, ito ba yung pinapaabot sa atin? Ito ba yung measure sa ECQ na gusto nilang ipaabot? Na alam naman natin na mas nagdadala yan ng takot at kalituhan sa mamamayan. Yung mga nagpapaabot ng ayuda na hinuhuli, miski nga may papeles. So hindi po, sa tingin natin, hindi yan yung tamang direksyon na pumunta tayo. Ang kailangan po natin, kung gusto natin ng solidarity, magsimula tayo tingnan kung sino yung vulnerabling sektor ng populasyon at intindihin natin yung kalagayan nila. Sa pangmatagalan, yung sinasabi namin sa health na social determinants of health, yan yung dapat inaasikaso natin kasi dyan magiging patas yung playing field natin eh. Hindi tulad ngayon na yung problema natin sa COVID, iba-iba ang epekto sa atin. Kasi yung mas hirap talaga itong mga nasa urban poor communities, yung mga malalayo o yung mga walang impormasyon, yung walang kapasidad, yung nawawalan ng trabaho. So, kailangan sinasagot yan, yung social determinants of health. And siguro padagdag lang dun sa social amelioration program, yung ayuda kasi hindi naman po yan pwedeng hindi yan pwedeng ang dami mong criteria para hindi ibigay. No? Kaya may pension, kaya kasama ka sa 4Ps o ka ng pantawid, hindi ka nabibigyan o kaya may konti kang may OFW kang kamag-anak. So sabi nga namin sa panahon ng krisis walang pinipili yan. Hindi po namimili. So lahat tayo apektado. Ang pagbibigay ng ayuda, kulang pa nga yung binibigay ng pamahalaan, pero dapat ay tingnan natin sa usapin na alam natin pag nag-declare ka ng ECQ, may mga warning yan, may sinatawag namin na alam mo naman yung socio-economic impact na. So kailangan yan yung dapat hinaharap din. So if ever yan, nagsasabi ng gobyerno ng new normal, yung iba talagang pinapapasok na ng May 15, yung government offices. So marami na nagtatanong sa amin, paano po ba? Magpapatest ba kami? Anong test ang gagawin? Actually, yung mga yan, protocol na dapat ini-ensure na ng ating pamahalaan. Paano mo ma-ensure yung maintain yung social distancing? Kailangan klaro po yan na mako-communicate. Sa experience namin, marami pa rin kaming naririnig from the community sa mga barangay na sila pa nga yung nag-e-effort na paano ba natin ayusin yung palengke, paano yung ano. Pero kulang yung mismong guidance mula dun sa nasa position or dun sa administration. So, ito po, yung flattening the curve ay dapat, ano yan, sa usapin ng sama-samang pagkilos na mahalaga, no, na maging umambag tayo, no, tutulong tayo dyan. Pero syempre yung responsibility o responsibilidad ng pamahalaan, sila pa rin yung pangunahin na tinitingnan natin na magbibigay ng hiya, tulong para dyan. So, sabi ko nga, tutulong tayo, makikiisa tayo, pero kailangan di rin tayo tatahimik kung may nakikita tayo na dapat natin paundarin, punahin, or kailangan nating sabihin. So, yun lang po. Salamat.
Maraming salamat, Doc Julie. So nakita naman natin, gusto ko yung huling magandang takeaway, yung huling statement ninyo na huling mga statements. Una, crisis na, dapat lahat bigyan ng ayuda because that's adding to the pressures and to the stresses. And then, yung parting words nyo nga, as professionals, as health professionals, tsaka tayong hindi naman ganun ka-vulnerable, we're all willing to help, obviously, because there's a need. Unfortunately, it is the government's sole responsibility, and they're the extraordinary powers. They even enacted new laws just to address this. However, it appears that up to now they don't have their act straight together. So mukhang nandoon pa yung, and then the other bottleneck which I observed earlier in your presentation and then in the earlier press conference was that we're not quite sure about the data. Dahil may problema sa data. Di ba? It's very hard to make decisions when you don't have solid grounding on data. Then I think yan yung magiging segue ko sa next nating speaker who will comment about the current status of testing, laboratory capacities, and all that, and all those issues pertaining to testing. So tawagin naman natin si Joshua Dana ng Scientists Unite Against COVID-19.
Hello. So I was asked to talk about mass testing, no, and I believe ang topic natin ngayon is an assessment of what the government has been doing. Kita ba yung slides ko? Hello? Kita ba?
Yes, kita naman.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, so thank you to Contend, no, for allowing Scientists Unite to have this platform again to discuss. So nalala ko, it was last month yata yung first one, and we were talking about what do we need for mass testing to happen, no? Like, why do we need to build our PCR capacity? Ganun. And parang back then, our ITM pa lang and a few other labs nag-test. And so much has happened since then, no? Like, for example, nag-pivot yung DOH from saying na we don't need mass testing to declaring na we're gonna do mass or expanded testing, and then nagkaroon ng accreditation process, nagkaroon ng additional labs, daming nangyari. So, question though is, yung bang mga nangyari na to, are they enough? Or are we on the right track? So, just to put us all on the same page with regards to mass testing, when we say mass testing or whatever you want to call it, massive testing, expanded testing, increased testing, is it targeted testing? The term doesn't matter so much as what we mean, which is to increase the laboratory testing capacity. And the reason for this, syempre, is kulang na kulang, like sinabi nga kanina, kulang na kulang yung current capacity natin. How do we know that? Daming metrics na pwede, no? Pero siguro yung most important metric for patients on the ground, for people on the ground, would be the turnaround time. Or bakit may backlogs in terms of the testing, no? Kasi may reports pa rin na namatay na wala pa siyang results sa swab. Or several weeks, yung test na dapat 1 or 2 days, umaabot ng several weeks. So we know that there's insufficient capacity. So again, when we say mass testing, we don't mean that we want to test everyone. Instead, it's still strategic. Now we only want to test the suspect cases, or what we previously called the PUIs. We need to test our frontline healthcare workers. We need to test vulnerable individuals. So kasi ito yung mga pinaka at risk, di ba? Na meron namang parang priority when it comes to who should be tested. And then we also mean na mass testing has to be increased and expanded kasi nga kung makakapag-build tayo ng capacity for testing, then that means we can test more people. Susunod naman yan eh. And finally, has to be more accessible. So geographically and economically, no, kailangan may access sa testing kahit na sa malayong lugar, kahit na wala ka sa sentro o wala ka sa syudad. And kailangan, of course, affordable to para sa kahit kanino. Kailangan libre. So, na-mention na rin to kanina, no? Why do we need to build our testing capacity? Unang-una nga kasi the current capacity is super insufficient and there is a very, very big demand. And then, second nga is because we need the turnaround time to be faster. Kailangan same day or the next day, may resulta ka na. Kasi buhay talaga ang nakasalalay dito minsan, no? You can't wait until you're dead to have a test result. And then yun nga, we need to make it more decentralized and accessible. And finally, because testing is gonna be our window into this pandemic situation. So how do we know the enemy we're fighting? Or like, how do we know if we're doing a good job, diba? How can we say if we're ready to lift the ECQ or we're ready to restart the economy if we don't even have a complete picture of what's going on in the country? So, we're gonna be talking this time more about an assessment of what's been happening. So, siguro first, ito yung controversial na, have we flattened the curve? So, I chose to show you here some countries like US and UK kasi sila yung mga alam natin na medyo pa sila ngayon, sila yung mga epicenter of the global pandemic. And then you have here yung neighbors natin in Southeast Asia, Thailand, Taiwan, Vietnam, Cambodia. And what you notice is flat talaga yung curve nila compared sa atin. Kasi I think there was a controversy about this na syempre magpa-flat yan kasi logarithmic daw yung plot. Yung y-axis, if you notice, it's not a linear plot. Now, yes, we do use logarithmic plots naman talaga to show data like this. But you have to be mindful na yung trajectory ba na nakikita mo ay pataas pa rin ba or nag-flat na. So kung papansin niyo yung sa Philippines, hindi yan flat na like it's not increasing anymore. It's still going up, diba? Kasi every day we still get new cases. And if you notice, hindi naman bumababa yung tests, yung new cases per day. So yung graph sa taas, it's according to the date that the case was reported, and then the graph below, it's according to the onset of the illness or the symptoms. But either way, you can see wala tayong my sharing is paused. And either way, you can see we don't really have like a clear, consistent downward trend. Kasi diba, if you say na you contained the virus, edi dapat nag-stop na yung transmission. Wala na nakakasakit. Pero you still have this increase. Now, parang bakit ganun? Bakit hindi na siya exponential? Bakit nag-steady na parang 200 to 300 cases per day na lang yung bagong cases natin? Now, the one possibility is kasi nga daw nagsuslow down yung transmission. But it's also possible na the reason na nag-steady ka na 200 to 300 new cases per day is because yun na yung maximum ng testing capacity. So, dito sa the graphic here on the right, even if you're black yung actual epidemic curve mo, or even if the actual cases are still going up or still going higher, you don't actually know, you can't actually see that if you're limited by your testing capacity. So that's what you get. No, yun yung nag-flatten siya pero for a totally different and negative reason. Diba? Kasi yun, if you see here nga, yung curve ng cases natin, nag-flat nga sila sa bagong cases. Pero kasi hindi na umaakyat masyado yung testing capacity natin. And then this is from the DOH's COVID situationer. So you can see yesterday, May 6th, there were 10,000 confirmed cases. And yet, yung PCR confirmed individuals are already at 13,000. So bakit ganun? Bakit yung confirmed cases 10,000 lang? Pero sabi dito, 13,000 individuals have already tested positive. Asan yung 3,000? Yung 3,000 na yun yung backlog, not in the testing even, pero yun yung backlog sa encoding or sa validation ng DOH mula sa data na nanggaling dun sa mga labs na positive tong tao na to. So, take note, yung 3,000 na backlog na yan sa pag-track natin ng cases, ano na lang yan, hindi na yan yung actual work sa lab kasi ibang usapan pa yung backlog na yun. Ito na lang yung backlog ng pag-validate ng DOH na talagang positive ang kaso na to. And then, like I was saying earlier, another metric that we have to look at to say, are we really containing the virus or flattening the curve or whatever you want to call it, is ano ba yung trend in the new cases per day. And you can see here sa left, all those countries that are doing a good job at beating COVID-19, they have a bell-shaped curve, like a reverse U na curve. Kasi bumaba, kumukonte yung new cases per day. So that's how you can see na you really contain the virus and you stop the transmission. Kasi tingnan niyo yung other end, like yung naka-box tayo dyan, Philippines. Hindi na siya tumataas, pero nag-steady nga siya. Yun nga yung nag-flat na curve. But that's not the kind of flat curve that you want. Kasi diba, when we say flattening the curve, we're saying dapat hindi niya malagpasan yung capacity of the healthcare system. Pero if ganito yung flat na curve, yung daily cases per new time, that means dumadagdag ka pa rin ng cases kasi hindi pa siya bumababa, hindi pa siya nag-zero out. So, you can't really say that you're successfully containing the virus. Now, recently, actually, nung May 1 pa lang, meron ng areas that transitioned from enhanced community quarantine to general community quarantine. And then may talks on May 15, what's going to happen to Metro Manila and to the other areas that are still under ECQ. Are we going to start to ease the restrictions or will we have to extend? And ito kasi yung data na tinitingnan pag ganyan, no? Kasi this is an acknowledgement that the outbreak, it's not simultaneous across the country. Syempre iba-iba siya depending on the geographical location. No, kung titignan lang natin yung mapa na to, no, mukhang may hotspots kumbaga sa NCR, and then you have Cebu, very red, Davao region, very red. But does this really reflect yung saan maraming COVID cases? Or is it just that ito lang kasi yung areas na may testing? Kasi look, for example, sabi dito wala masyadong cases sa Cordillera region, sa Aurora province, some provinces in the Bicol region, some provinces in northern Mindanao. Pero if you look at the map of where the testing centers are, yun kasi yung walang, sino lang ba ang may testing center? Sa Baguio, sa Iloilo, Cebu, Bicol, Davao, and then all the rest are in NCR. Now go back to this map, di ba nag-coincide kung nasaan yung testing centers dito na dark green, nandoon rin yung pinakamaraming cases. So sila yung mas may access. So this is tricky kasi this is the kind of data that you are also gonna use if you're the policymaker, if you wanna decide, have we contained the virus in this place? Now, like, are we ready to lift the lockdown and slowly go back to a new normal or restart the economy? So if your picture of the data is incomplete, then Kuwari, di ba? Kung titignan mo to, you might say, okay na to lift the ECQ, which is what happened, di ba? Pero it's also possible na the reason lang na kaya nga ganun is kulang kasi yung testing sa areas na yun or they don't have the same access. And in 2 weeks time, makikita mo na magkakaroon ka ng second wave na makikita mo yung effects of a premature lifting. So, syempre, we're hoping that's not gonna happen. So, what about the testing capacity? When we, siguro a month ago, no, parang we started with like we only had less than 10 labs. And as of today, I believe there are 23. Pero if you notice, hindi naging ganun ka proportionate yung increase in the testing capacity, and it's still very erratic. Like the other day umabot na ng 7,000, tas kahapon or nung isang araw bumalik na naman sa 4,600, and never na meet ng DOH yung stated na goal niya of 8,000 tests per day. So why is this happening? Two things dito, no. First, kulang yung pagdagdag natin ng more labs kasi 17 out of 23 are in the National Capital Region. Hindi naman ganun yung distribution of people or of cases in the Philippines. So that's a big geographical disparity. And the second thing is, there is the existing labs have not yet maximized their own capacity. So meaning, for example, my example is going to be the Lung Center where I'm volunteering with COVID testing. We have 3 or actually 4 PCR machines. So tatlo sa Lung Center talaga and then another one on loan. So they have a total of 4 machines. Kung yung PCR capacity lang alone, you should be able to do something like 2,000 to 3,000 tests per day. Pero ang capacity nga lang lately is something like less than 100. I think yung best na napaabot na namin was 700 or 800. So bakit ganun? Well, like we said kasi, testing kasi it's not just the PCR kits, it's not just a PCR machine. There are also lots of other things that go into doing a PCR test, and we'll talk about that later. So, ayun na, just to compare, etong 23 testing labs natin across the whole country, we stand in stark contrast with a neighbor like Vietnam, which I believe has a lower GDP per capita. Pero you can see they have over 100 testing labs, and they have done so many tests compared to us. So like you can see in terms of yung outcomes nila, they have way less cases and 0 deaths pa as of May 4. So like, wow, how did they do that? Na they're also a small country, a poor country relatively, pero like, how come nakapag-increase sila ng lab capacity in a way that we haven't been able to do? So I was saying, no, testing capacity isn't maximized. If you look at this graph, meron declared dyan na like sabi, okay, ito yung maximum capacity per day ng different testing labs. And you will see, minsan nalalagpasan nila, which tells you it's not really a maximum kasi nalagpasan nila, di ba? And most of the time though, hindi nila naaabot. Like, itong output ng Makati Med, which is a private hospital, no? Super low, super below. And then you have the Red Cross, which has super laki dapat ng capacity nila kasi they have automated machines, they have all these fancy equipment, and yet they're doing less than 1,000 tests per day most of the time. So ano yung problems doon? Kasi nga when we do PCR testing, there are 3 things you need: the supplies, the personnel, and the labs. So in terms of supplies, it's not just the kits again, but there's also consumables. So you would need plates, you will need tips, you will need tubes, you will need maraming ganun. You will need RNA extraction kits kasi hindi naman yung direction na from swab to PCR. You first need to isolate the RNA, which is the genetic material of the virus. So you need all those components to be able to actually run a test. And the problem natin doon is kulang na nga yung supply dahil mataas ang global demand and mahirap mag-supply sa Pilipinas na wala namang local supplier ng mga gamit na to. Hindi pa organized yung procurement. This is actually something where something like emergency powers would come in great. Kasi you can have the government step in and say na, oh, okay, isi-centralize muna ng government ang procurement, government muna bibili ng lahat ng supplies niyan sa bansa, and then i-distribute sa mga testing labs na kailangan nun. That's the ideal scenario, pero that's not what's happening right now. And then, syempre, aside from yung gamit na yon, you need personnel to maximize the capacity. Now, theoretically, dapat kaya mo, if you have enough supplies, you should be able to run your lab 24/7. Kasi alam naman natin, ang dami-daming backlog, di ba? So like, dapat kaya nyo magbuo na siguro 3 shifts in like 3 8-hour shifts. Pero kulang yung tao. Kulang pa nga yung tao to do a full shift minsan. Which is why, even if they could have a much higher, a lab could have a much higher like capacity, maximum capacity talaga, hindi yun naaabot kasi kulang yung tao. Or kapag naman nakapagdagdag na ng tao, like this is what's happening sa Long Center, you had to scale down operations kasi naipon na yung backlog, tapos nauubusan na ng supplies. It goes back to the first issue. And then, syempre, aside from yung per lab na kailangan enough supplies and enough personnel, you have to have more labs doing the testing kasi nga, di naman pwedeng nasa NCR lang lahat. And then yung iba, papadala na lang kung saan-saan. Pero in terms of yung pag-accredit natin ng additional labs, I believe at the start of April, DOH said na we will try to accredit all the labs that applied by the end of the month. And yet, hindi yun nangyari. We've only been able to accredit a total of 23 labs since the pandemic started. And dito ba yan? Sorry. And if you see here, meron ka pang 84 pending applications and 62 doon yung nasa stage 3 and above. So, di ba? That's like a super bagal ng pace. And bakit siya mabagal? There are certain requirements that are superfluous. Or for example, kung mag-a-apply ka kasi for your lab to be accredited, kailangan nyo mag-submit ng notarized ganito, notarized memorandum of agreement, ganyan. Kailangan nyo ng mission vision statement na laminated, ganun. These are all like super, di ba parang iisipin mo, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Like, is that really gonna be my number one priority? And then aside from those parang those bureaucratic like red tape, there's also gonna be yung issue of, setting up a lab to do COVID testing is a big technical challenge. Kasi, you need to have yung biosafety level 2. You need to have certain equipment. You need the people to be familiar and trained in the workflow of the molecular diagnostic testing. And that's not exactly something that's common in the Philippines. So, kailangan kasi yung accreditation process, it has to be not just for compliance, na bibigyan mo sila ng requirements and then sundan nyo to. Kasi wala dun yung capacitation na kailangan gina-guide mo rin sila. It has to be cooperative na, alam naman na mahirap to, kaya kailangan tutulungan natin yung labs kung paano ba sila magsa-set up. So ito yung process, no? Like there are 5 stages na kailangan daanan and there are so many bottlenecks. And I think yung number one bottleneck talaga dito is hindi kasi clearly coordinated and centralized yung testing centers, yung from the accreditation process to when they're already doing testing. You won't find, parang if you ask DOH, kung sino bang in charge sa testing centers? Or like, kanina ba sila sumasagot? Or may group chat ba yan? Ganun na. Nag-uusap-usap ba yung mga yan? No, parang kanya-kanya pa rin. And that's very difficult, no? Kasi when you're tackling a problem of a national scale, you have a national demand for PCR tests, you have to have a national response. You have to have that national supply, diba? A national capacity. But that's not what's happening right now. It's just like you have these labs that are accredited by the government and then may private labs who also got approval. Pero walang central effort to put all those together and say na, okay, ito yung kailangan natin. This is the strategy, ganun. And then, sabi pa ni Secretary Duque, like, wala namang feedback na negative sa mga nag-certify ng laboratory. Which, I don't know. Well, baka di lang nakakaabot sa secretary. Pero there has to be a centralized effort. And then another thing is, If you go back to this map, wala akong list, no? If we go back to this map, mayroong 23 labs, right? But not all of them, kumbaga, are involved in addressing the national capacity. So this is a problem of the sample allocation. Kasi ang ginawa ng DOH is may naka-assign yan na sinong lab ang sasagot sa testing demands ng anong provinces, regions, or cities in the Philippines. So for example, no, yung sa Baguio General, they're supposed to be responsible for testing Region 1, Cordillera Region 2, something like that. Hati-hati dapat sila. Pero hindi lahat ng 23 na yan nakikihati sa allocation na yon. And the reason is kasi some of them are private labs. So parang dadagdag lang sa services ng hospital na yun is they can also offer official COVID testing. But when it comes to the problem of we have a large national demand and marami tayong backlogs, hindi siya straightforward na gano'n na, if we dagdag tayo ng lab, tataas yung capacity. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng labs nga na nadagdag ay dumadagdag dun sa national capacity. So, those are the challenges, no? And what is the government actually doing aside from all those challenges? Kasi yun yung kwento right now on the ground with COVID testing. What is the government doing about COVID testing? So there's a public-private task force na in-announce on DOH, the T3, which is supposed to significantly expand RT-PCR testing capacity. And the person put in charge of this, tama ba, T3 or kasi yung deputy implementer of whatever of the COVID testing ganun is no, is yung president ng BCDA ng Basis Conversion Development Authority, who is neither a doctor or a scientist. And yung initiative nila, yung initiative that's been in the news ngayon is the mega swabbing centers, which sounds like a good idea, no? Na let's set up these mega centers na we can swab something like 5,000 people per day, and then pwede natin padala yun sa labs so that mass testing. But then, kung babalik ka dun sa sabi natin kanina, ang latest number ng testing capacity ay not even 5,000. Ayun pa lang yung meron ngayon. Tapos may backlog pa na sabi ng DOH 8,000 lang. Pero di natin sure kung 8,000 lang ba talaga. Kasi kung yung backlog pa lang namin sa long center, parang doubtful na yun. Baka nanonood pala sila. Pero like, so if you add a mega swabbing center na mag-generate ng 5,000 swabs per day, sinong sasalo nung additional demand na yun? Kasi again, no, when we talk about mass testing, our approach has to be increasing the laboratory capacity. You have to start from there. Otherwise, you're not gonna be able to get anything done. Kasi even if mag-swab ka na maraming tao, or even if nakapag-build ka na maraming quarantine facilities, kung wala ka namang testing capacity, and kung it still takes 1 or 2 weeks, tapos na yung 14-day quarantine, wala pa rin test result, wala ka na-achieve, di ba? Wala. Kasi yung test, trace, treat strategy, ang first step doon is test. You can't do the contact tracing without the testing. You can't do the isolation without the testing. You're not even sure how to treat without the testing. Diba? And then another initiative na green-lighted ng government is the Project ARC. So antibody rapid test kits, and we didn't touch on it much kasi it's not the main point. Pero antibody tests are already used in a lot of LGUs ngayon, in a lot of by a lot of companies rin. And we have to caution this, no? Kasi antibody tests, the ones we have are not yet accurate, and they might give you a false negative or a false positive. They're not as good as a PCR test. And yung idea kasi ng initiative na to, na headed by the presidential advisor, si Joey Concepcion, is that we can restart the economy daw. So maybe we can identify na ikaw negative ka, or ikaw nag-positive ka na. Pero remember, these tests are not reliable. They're not even validated yet by the FDA. Wala pang in-approve yan kasi may papeles sila. pero wala pa silang validation study that says that yes, they're accurate or that yes, you can rely on them. So they should antibody tests should not be used for massive screening, and it's kind of iffy, it's kind of problematic if you wanna gusto mo itaya yung pag-reopen ng economy, gusto mo itaya yung pagbabalik ng mga tao outside into work, and syempre they're gonna be interacting on a test that's not reliable, and it's not so accurate. So, I guess rapid tests, they're cheaper, they're faster, but we still need to build yung PCR capacity natin. So, what should be done? We go back to yung recommendations that we've been making. First of all, in terms of lab accreditation, it has to be simplified and sped up. So, like we were saying kanina, we need to streamline the process, and kailangan may maayos na pag-coordinate with the labs that are applying, that want to get accredited, para hindi lang sila pinapag-comply, kung hindi, kina-capacitate mo rin sila na they can actually maximize their capacity. And that also goes for the labs that are already accredited. We have to maximize the existing capacity. And then, like I was saying earlier, we have to improve or expand the sample allocation, kasi hindi naman pwedeng, it would ease the backlog on a lot of the government testing centers if nagsistep in rin yung other labs that got accredited to share in the burden. Kasi nga, marami yung demand. And then, in terms of logistics, like, we just really need more people to be hired. We need more supplies to be coordinated to the testing centers. We need financial backing from the government and their emergency powers, diba? To make sure na funded itong pag-increase ng testing capacity. And then, ayun, so like, our call has to be, we want mass testing, pero we can't just build mega swabbing centers, or we can't just have an accreditation process and wait for the labs to apply. So we have to work talaga to increase the laboratory capacity, kasi that's the only way that we can get free and accessible, accurate mass testing. Okay, so that's it for my my talk.
Okay, so thank you, Josh. So what I'm getting from your discussion is that we have so much to work on, actually, from the entire chain of from accrediting, building the laboratories, then the testing capacity, the personnel. In fact, the government doesn't even hire enough plantilla positions for that. Then what I'm also getting is there's misprioritization. You mentioned that there are many swabbing centers, but there are not enough laboratories, which causes a lot of bottlenecks in the entire process. So going back to your first point earlier, I as I understand, there's the data that we're getting is not yet even catching up to the actual data that should be encoded. So there's the entire research process itself is problematic, from gathering the samples to handling the samples to processing these samples to actually encoding and analyzing them, which would going back to the good Dr. Julie's inputs earlier, we're still really not quite sure where we're getting at. Kasi kanina I saw your point about the hotspots in the map, which are very close to test, which are in areas with testing centers, right? So but
Yes.
my other concern for that would be, hindi ba may testing center din sa, you mentioned a particular area which I would like to ask about. Yung sa Baguio, di ba? The Baguio General BGH has a testing center, but it's not a hotspot, right?
If we
That
look at
area.
the sa area na yun, sige, maybe I can share the screen again. So, Benguet is here, no? It's orange compared sa mga katabi niya na yellow or gray. So, in sa area niya, it's still the hotspot. Pero if you also notice, overall nga, mababa yung dito, no? mababa yung doon sa Benguet compared dun sa
Mm.
other NCR or Cebu. But that also goes back to the fact na mas maliit yung capacity ng testing center doon. Tingnan natin if it's here. Ayan, Baguio General, they're only doing a few hundred tests per day.
BG.
Na yun na yung nakalaan. Yeah, it's here. BGHMC. Yun na yung nakalaan for those 3 regions. Right? So it makes it, if you go back to this, no, it kind of makes sense na konti lang talaga ang cases dyan kasi konti lang talaga yung testing dyan.
That it test. So it's a compounded problem that we're not testing enough and we're not looking in the right places.
Yeah.
As well. So you can't see cases if you don't go looking for them.
Yeah. Parang, it's not to say na the ECQ was a bad move or na it's not working. Kasi we still have another metric naman, which is we're looking at the hospitals. Like, where you can look at, increase ba yung admissions mo of pneumonia or yung ARDS cases or yung influenza-like illnesses? Parang one perspective is as long as may space pa sa ospital, ganun, parang we're good. But then you have to consider, kapag nag-lift ka na ng lockdowns mo and then hindi mo alam, hindi pa pala contained yung transmission sa area na yun. In a few days or weeks time, magsa-surge na naman. Dun darating yung sinasabi natin na second wave. And when that happens, hindi mo na alam kung sapat pa rin ba yung hospital capacity na meron ka. Especially yung sabi nga kanina, pre-COVID pa lang, kulang na tayo. What more ngayon?
Okay, so actually that's a very interesting presentation because it sort of gives us a better understanding of the entire testing or research process, because sometimes there's this common notion that we just have to have a lot of test kits, but it's an entire process as well. Aside from, of course, the encoding, I read this one article in the Atlantic trying to explain the main problem with the general public's trepidation with the COVID data is that we don't understand that the process of science is going towards the lessening of uncertainty. Na kaya pa iba-iba yung data because we're still trying to catch up with the knowledge of the virus, the disease, marami pang pre-released na mga article, etc. Okay, so we have another question here. We have a question here. On other challenges on testing capacity, if additional number of testing labs cannot expand the overall testing capacity, then what should be done to improve them to function to their full capacity?
Okay. So this is a very I can speak on this from a personal level kasi yung nga kuwari sa Long Center, no, we've been trying to really maximize the testing capacity. Let's go back to the three requirements nga, no, is you need a lab, you need the personnel, and you need the supplies. So kung sa isang lab lang, you focus on the personnel and the supplies. Para ma-maximize mo yung capacity talaga ng lab, na as in 24/7, dapat nakakapag-run siya ng samples para na ma-maximize mo yung salang mo sa PCR machine, ganun. Unang-una, kailangan mo ng additional staff kasi you can't expect the same medtechs and the same scientists or technicians to be working 24/7. You shouldn't even be making them work extended hours kasi lalo sila nagiging at risk kasi they're handling infectious samples, diba? Kailangan mo ng more staff just to fill those shifts. And then in terms of yung supplies naman, kailangan secure yung supply chain na yung other supplies na kailangan hindi nagkakaubusan. Unlike the situation in other labs na day-to-day, tinatansya kung may enough pa ba tayong tips, may enough pa ba tayong plates, may enough pa ba tayong tubes, tas kung wala, sorry na lang, sa samples, backlog na naman. So, it really has to be a concerted effort. And this is highly, highly technical, which is why all the more you need that technical guidance coming from the authorities concerned.
But so let's just go back to that. How is RITM? I think RITM is the lead agency here on the testing side. Is RITM is the RITM doing enough capacitate scientists, medical technologists to do the actual test, to test for BSL-2?
Mhm. So, I think kasi sa accreditation process, no, kasama nga yung training, kasama siya sa steps of the process. Pero iba kasi yung, well, this is from our experience on the ground, no. Yung training is one thing, natuturuan kita paano humawak ng pipettes, paano gagawin yung step by step. But then, there's also the challenge na pagdating na sa mismong lab nyo. Like, paano nyo isa-set up yung workflow? Paano kayo mag-manage na darating yung maraming samples? And then, kuwari, not, kasi limited, kasi dami rin ginagawa ng RITM, di ba? Which I'm sure I don't blame them. They must be the busiest people. So like, di rin naman nila matitrain yung every single staff of every single lab. Di ba?
Then we have another question here. Idudugtong ko na lang din yung tanong ko kasi I also have this in my mind earlier. When we say our demand is mass testing, actually we're trying to get at a statistically significant number of tests or individuals tested. Kasi doon ka lang makakagawa ng isang valid at accurate na analysis of data if your data is statistically significant, being enough ang number at randomly selected. In the other article that I read, sinasabi nga kasi nila ang weak noong testing not because konti lang siya but because hindi siya random at all. We're actually just testing who we can test, yung mga may sakit na o yung mga nagpapakita na ng sintomas. So hindi purposive basically yung sampling. It's not really random. So the question is that there's this claim, so there's the government claim that there have already been 100,000 tests conducted. Is this really the mass testing that we're demanding? Are we there yet? So maybe we can start.
Nung in-identify namin, kasi nga nagka-issue pa yung mass testing kasi apparently nasaktan na yung DOH. Yan. Hindi pa nga kasama yung mga health workers doon eh. So pinaglaban pa natin na later on nagbago sila nung mga kinonsider na nila nakasama na dun sa test nila. Ayun, with the renewed classification ng mga suspect and so mas pinalawak na nila. So maski mga basta may established na contact, tapos may symptoms, pero may priority pa rin yan eh. So yung health workers actually na may symptoms, kasama na doon. Tapos yung contacts actually, may contact pero walang symptom, sinama na rin. Kaya lang hindi yun second, third priority pa siya. So parang sabi nga namin, sige, I think malaki dun sa limitation na ng government is because iniisip nila yung number yung capacity nung laboratory. So isa yon. Pero sabi nga namin, kung totoong mass testing, pati yung dating mga PUM, sabi nga namin, miski na-expose ka lang or mag-random test ka lang, kunyari, meron ditong kumpulan ng, mga nagkakasakit, miski hindi severe. So, pwede ka mag-random test doon para at least ma-prove mo na, sige, hindi pala to COVID. Pero at least binigyan mo yon ng posible na may COVID doon. So, yan yung mga sinabi nga namin na kailangan kasama doon sa mass testing na definition. Or kaya randomly. Kunyari, isang area yan na mataas yung incidence or marami na galing dyan na hospitalized, mag-random ka pa rin para at least makita mo talaga kung yung degree ng spread dun sa area. So, yun yung namin. Pero apparently, yan. Yung limitation talaga, malaki. So, yun for us.
Yeah. Josh?
Okay. So, I guess from a purely methodological approach, you would want a random sample kasi that's how, statistically, that's how you know na representative yung data of the population. But we
And
have to consider, but we also have to consider na this is also an ethical consideration na you have people who need the testing Di mo naman sila pwedeng i-deprive just for the sake of a random sample. But fortunately for us naman kasi, it doesn't mean na because data is biased, it's useless. We just have to know and account for yung biases na yun. So for example, no, yung benchmark ng WHO na sinabi is if your positivity rate or how many samples out of all the tests are positive is around 5 to 10%, goods ka na daw. Now, you're doing enough testing or at least in the ballpark of enough testing kasi napababa mo na. Yun yung kanina rin na tests per confirmed case, di ba? Kapag mas mataas yung number na yun, mas tumaas yung testing capacity mo. Na kung titingnan, sabi ng DOH, sa data daw kasi natin, ang positivity rate natin ay 10% na. So, pwede na nilang i-claim na, wow, sapat na yung testing natin. But, you have to look at the caveats. Now, for example, most of that testing is happening somewhere like in NCR, diba? Or somewhere, diba? It's only happening close to those areas na may access to testing. So yung 10% mo na yun, hindi mo alam kung 10% lang ba talaga siya across the whole country. Kasi baka may areas na hindi pala ganun, diba? So from another perspective though, what I'd like to say rin is, yeah, we can base those benchmarks and we have those metrics. Pero I think another important metric talaga that we should be looking at is the turnaround time. Meaning, nakukuha ba yung results agad in 1 to 2 days? Na yun yung dapat lang na waiting time for the PCR? Eh, yung situation natin ngayon, it's still several days, minsan weeks, or may nakikita ng cases umaabot na siguro ng buwan, di ba? And yung iba patay na yung patient. So that already tells you, di ba, na no matter your benchmark on the methodological side or the statistical side, if may backlogs ka pa rin na ganun kalala, bakit may nagkaka-backlog? Kasi kulang yung capacity. So you have to build the capacity not just for the sake of your statistics or not just for the sake of your data gathering, but because again, this is also the people's healthcare, diba? This is also their diagnosis and this is also their welfare.
And it's to take off from that, it's an emergency. So you need the most accurate data when you need it. So time sensitive kasi. So ibig sabihin, the situation is turning ever so often.
Yes.
We're already on the 6th, 7th week of the community quarantine, and yet we haven't built the right structures to actually test for, detect, account for these cases. Another question would be this: what is the likely scenario if we shift to from enhanced to general community quarantine, given the attendant problems on testing capacity and hospital capacity? Is the protocol of COVID-19 testing difficult to teach to newly established labs? What is the RITM or DOH responsibility to ensure the competency of the testers in the new labs? I think this was discussed a bit earlier, but let's just elaborate on that further. So, yung unang tanong po, what is the likely scenario if we shift to general from enhanced community quarantine, given the attendant problems on testing capacity and hospital capacity? First question muna.
Ako muna? O sige.
Sige po,
Ano
ma'am.
lang yun eh, without benefit nung testing, kung hindi mo talaga makita yung real picture, yung tendency talaga na bumalik, mag-surge, nandyan, no? Yung sinasabi nilang wave. Actually, may nagsasabi, baka mag-third wave. Sabi ko, nag-second wave na pala tayo. So, ganun. Pero sabi nga namin, baka first wave pa rin to na hindi naman talaga natin na nakikita kasi nga yung ating data gathering. Pero, yun yung isa. Unless, yun nga, and then, pag hindi rin makahabol yung system, yung healthcare system mo, yun din, yun pa rin yung danger doon. And siguro, kung magre-relax ka ng quarantine measures, yung magiging niyan, by force, kailangan ma-communicate ng maayos yan sa public. Kasi sila yung magiging frontliners, community. Yan daw yung frontliners sa ng COVID, sa prevention at sa paglaban sa COVID-19. So, paano mo yan i-communicate ng mabuti na yung sinasabi yung new normal, paano yan gagawin. So, sa ngayon, marami na rin tumatawag sa amin kasi tinatanong nila if they are government workers sila. So, pinababalik na sila. Sabi nga namin, wala bang protocol na sinasabi pa sa inyo kung paano, saan kayo magpapatest kung gusto niyo magpatest. So, ganyan yung mga hinaharap din natin. Paano pa yung mas vulnerable at mahihirap nating mga kababayan? So, paano nila i-actualize yan? So, yan yung mga tanong din na sabi nga namin, kailangan yan sa kanila. Pinapaintindi at gagabayan din sila kung paano. So, yun siguro.
Josh?
Yeah. So, I think mas ma-answer ko siguro yung other question regarding
On
the protocol. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
Just
difficult to teach? From our experiences on the ground, kasi there is a single protocol, no? And unang-una, it depends ano ba yung background ng staff. Kasi yung molecular testing, it's not all medtechs in the country would have experience with this kind of work. It's its own specialty kasi siya. So parang it depende kung meron ka nung skill set na yun or not. So that's a very big consideration, especially since there are people who know how to do this pero hindi naman sila kalat everywhere in the country. Not every hospital might have them. And another thing is the protocol, the overall process is the same. Pero, syempre, sa bawat lab, mag-iiba-iba yan. Depende sa setup ng equipment nila, depende kung ilan ang PCR machine nila, ilan ang biosafety cabinet nila, etc. Ilan yung staff nila, and ano yung target number of samples that they want to process. So, all those factors will affect like the final workflow of the lab. So that affects the final protocol. And it's one thing kasi na may ina-attendan kang training, seminar, makakuha ka ng certificate. It's another level entirely to go back to your own lab, diba? And to set up all of that. And it's not always parang doon minsan nagkakaproblema. And ano yung responsibility naman ng RITM and DOH? So, ayun in the testing process kasi, the final or the stage 4 is the proficiency test. So they will send samples to the lab. Tapos kung tama yung results nila, alam na ng RITM yung results nun. Tapos kung tama yung results, that's when they issue a certification to the testing lab. So, I guess in theory, no, kapag pumasa ka sa proficiency test na yun, ibig sabihin, okay yung lab nyo. Pero syempre, that's a single test na they will send you 5 samples. It doesn't translate to the case na yung nai-imagine mo na syempre lab to ng COVID, ang daming nagpapatest ng COVID. So, dagsa, hundreds or thousands of samples a day. So, this is really, it dives deep into the technical issues. And that is why, again, we have to stress that there has to be a very, very good guidance from the government on this. Na, ang hirap nga ng task You can't just expect na binigay mo yung guidelines or yung requirements, enough na yun. You need to equip them and capacitate them.
Okay. So I think what I'm getting here is that yung technical issues, no, which would I think circle back to what Doc Julie said earlier, as it is our health system, for which that's a part of, is already having a difficult time just handling even curable or manageable diseases like the other diseases mentioned, measles, dengue, fever. But perhaps to try and synthesize the discussion, because we're nearing 6 p.m. Meron pa tayong Black Friday protest. Perhaps my question would be for the both of our speakers would be, what should we at this point be demanding from the national government in terms of the medical or public health response, and then the testing response perhaps, or the testing interventions, and how do we communicate this to the government? At what level do we intervene?
Sige. Ako muna.
Yeah, kayo muna daw.
Oo. Kami kasi gumawa rin kami ng parang position paper on ano yung mga, well, aside dun sa na-discuss ko na dun sa PowerPoint presentation, yung demands namin yun yung nasa right side ng table, yung actual and then yung demands namin. Di pa rin naman tumitigil yung panawagan namin, although as much as dun sa pinakita ni Josh na difficulty talaga ng accreditation ng mga testing centers and the concomitant na mga hula-balo na government regarding that, yung pa rin yung panawagan namin na mas dagdagan pa rin na yung call for mass testing. And then maybe later on yung yung prevalence rate, no? Pero ibang usapin na yon. Hindi na-determine mo kung ilan talaga yung naapektuhan na o nakasakit. Pero hiwalay yun, ha. So ngayon yung sa testing pa rin, andyan pa rin yung panawagan namin. Wala kaming tinarget na, although sinabi nga namin, kung yan yung sinet ng government, di ito pa rin nila. Kung gusto nila 2 million yung matest nila, di 2 million it is. Basta ang ano namin is ma-deliver nila yung data in a way na very nakikita talaga natin na sound yung data nila and doon manggagaling at nagiging basis talaga siya on future or whatever plans that they will mandate or kung ano man yung kanilang ipapatupad through the IATF or through DOH per se. So, yan yung isa namin. And then siguro yung inaano nga namin ng mga panawagan, yung flattening the curve is not really parang ano lang sa numbers, no? Kailangan isang malaking ano nito, laban pa rin natin after is how to call for the improvement ng healthcare system. And kadikit dyan yung socio-economic at saka yung sinasabi namin social determinants of health. Medyo mataas na yan na panawagan or maano, pero napakahalaga to level of the playing field na pag may mga ganito pang disaster sa sumusunod, yung vulnerabilities ay mabawasan at ayun, yung sa usapin ng mitigation, makapaghanda tayo at masasabi natin na hindi naman tayo dehado sa laban na to. So, yun yung para sa amin sa Coalition for People's Right.
Okay. Then, Josh?
Siguro no, this is like COVID, syempre, it's encompassing. Like it affects every level of our society. And I think correspondingly, our response comes at every level or at several levels, you know. At the public level or at the general, you know, with the general public, we have to keep informing and educating, and you know, people have to be aware. For example, na it's not as simple as kung may maraming test kit or may mega swabbing ay makakapag-test na. We have to educate the public about what it means to get tested. Kasi marirealize nila bakit kulang ang testing sa atin or talaga bang safe na ba na i-lift ang ECQ sa area nila, stuff like that. And then I think on the public level siguro there has to be talaga that clamor nga na we see what's happening and yet you know we don't think it's enough or it's not yet enough, diba? And then siguro there has to be a call for transparency kasi nga the data that we have nga, it's limited, it's imperfect, it's very flawed, and I think the government should acknowledge that instead of maybe trying to present it as evidence na our measures are working or na our interventions are working. No, I think kailangan kasi ang trato natin sa public hindi naman na parang you have to simplify everything, not always. We can discuss, diba? We can I think mas mag-benefit ang lahat kung nasa same page tayo doon na ang complex ng issue na to So dapat pinapalalim yung issues na yon. Now what aside from that, no, there are lots of efforts are being done, like on the level of individual laboratories. For example, lumalapit kami, tumutulong kami, yung mga nagpapa-apply, we try to help them, yung mga nagtitest na, we try to go to them, help them, you know, what assistance can we offer depending on yung capacity namin as trained scientists. On the policy level, pwede natin lapitan ng ating policy makers, whether in the local government, in the national government, diba? We work with them. We can try to forward their policies. We can work together, So there are lots of things that we can do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the point that Josh made about the public needs to be aware what testing entails and what the issue is. I think it goes into a more of a public education campaign on this disease, because while the Philippines has a very high literacy rate, we don't have a particularly high science literacy rate. There are reports last night of people in Cebu City, for example, who refused to be tested for unknown fears or anxieties that they have around testing. So kahit handang mag-test yung Cebu City government, ang daming ayaw mag-test. And then I was wondering, the reporter did not pursue more questions to more respondents, because I'm hoping to get an idea as a social scientist myself, to get an idea what are their understandings of what testing entails. Kasi baka people are getting intimidated because they see that those who test positive get jailed or quarantined, to be more euphemistic about it. They get quarantined or their liberties are curtailed. So baka merong trepidation yung mga tao how to deal with the disease, or there's this stigma around people who test positive for it. There's this stigma for those who constantly interact with cases or high risk. So yeah, I think the public needs to be involved, and the public needs to have a better awareness of this. And siguro magsi-segue na rin ako. So, yung free flow of information talaga, yung isang malaking bagay to engage the public, hindi yung susunod na lang tayo out of no reason. Kasi kapag mas aware yung public, then mas maluwag sa atin yung mulat na sumunod, rather than just telling us, okay, sumunod kayo or else merong consequences. So even as a teacher myself, alam ko na yung ganung way of teaching is not really effective. You need to get a buy-in from your stakeholders. Why do you need to comply with the policies? And of course, nakadugtong na dyan yung iba't iba pang mga issue. So siguro isi-segue ko na dito, we're at an end in our discussion. Yung mga binabanggit kong ibang mga bagay, una, we're going to hear more about that. Ano yung buy-in ng public into your restrictive policy? So social amelioration. So where are we with social amelioration? So that would be tackled in our next Usapang Masa on Monday. Then we're going to look at the economic impact. So that's on Tuesday, and then the political prospects on Wednesday. And then speaking of the political prospects and of course the information flow, patapos na kasi yung ating discussion, and this about 6 p.m. So iimbitahan na lang din natin lahat ng nanonood sa discussion na to. So pansin niyo naka-black kami ni Josh. Yung Black Friday protest. Oo. So defend press freedom, no to ABS-CBN shutdown. So yun yung panawagan natin ngayon, because of course, free flow of information fights the so-called infodemic, sabi nga ng WHO. So kailangan na lang din natin siguro for our speakers, I'm just going to kindly ask for your presentations. Kindly send them to me. I think I messaged you in the chat box so that we can make collaterals for them and then share them through visual materials. So kay Doc Julie and then kay Josh. So kindly email them to me.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yun na lang po. Maraming salamat at magkita-kita tayo sa next na Usapang Masa on Monday.
Thank you.
Salamat.
Ingat kayo, ingat.
Ay, Josh?
Yes po.
Pwede, may tanong lang ako. Pwede ba may messenger ka ba?
Sure, ma'am. I-message ko po sa inyo.
Sige. Paano? Sa Judy Caguet. Thanks. Thank you, Rain.
Yeah, actually,
Sure. Thank you rin po.
Ayan.
Okay.
And then